What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Bit of a weird start tomorrow. I woke up all very confused and almost dazed. I had a very mad dream. I started watching Fallout on Amazon Prime last night, so I blame that. So what the dream was I was in a big sort of cargo ship. We just had there was a big group of us, just had like our home and where we lived raided, so we were being transported by spaceship to somewhere new. So I thought, alright, so I'll get my head down to figure out what's going on. And then when I woke up, people had been taken away, and then I found out the new leader had been like sort of killing them off. So I was like, right, need to make a plan to go and escape and then basically go and kill this leader. So I started to make this plan, and then all of a sudden we find this like walkie-talkie device outside the room. The light was on, so it basically means they could hear us in their end, and then start panicking. Someone came in just with like food, like a service tray kind of thing, so I grabbed them in, started interrogating them, saying how much did they hear, and they said they heard nothing. Then I was like, right, this needs to happen right now in case they've heard something. And then I woke up, so woke up confused because it felt very real, and just, yeah, it's probably one of those dreams that's gonna stick with me for a while. But besides that, it's been a decent start, good few coaching sessions, just having some time to get coffee, finish some work, and then have breakfast. Speaking of breakfast, this might just be a me thing, but at breakfast on Sunday in the hotel, I always have these jars, and I always bring a few home because why not? I just like him, and that's just these pure honey things. I had one of these before High Rocks comp, so I just like to bring them for breakfast rather than bring the big tubs. Is it wrong to take them to breakfasts? I don't know, it's something you use, and like I'm just, I paid for it anyway, so it's like all inclusive buffet, so why not bring it as a snack for during the week's breakfasts. Anyway, plan for today, back's feeling very good, so gonna figure out what I'm gonna do for conditioning work, and then see how it is when I warm up. I've just realised today that I bring a ridiculous amount of stuff to work with me when I only use about half of it. I've got obviously my jacket, my rucksack that's mainly just full of camera gear, my laptop, and then the extra Sainsbury's bag that's full of breakfast and a change of gym clothes. I don't really need to bring all that into work with me. Also, don't judge by that Christmas bag in there. Well, you can judge because I'm just ridiculously lazy when it comes to clearing out the car, but that's for another day. I really need to sort that out. Maybe this weekend if it's dry. But firstly, check out this new jumper from Hustle Made. Mentality is everything. Also got the t-shirt version. It's a very nice jumper. I actually got it in an extra large, so it actually feels comfortable to wear. But it's training done, and just before I left, one of the members, she'd very kindly made some brownies, some miso brownies, which I've never tried before. So here's the brownie. I saved that for after training, and I was going to go over to Pure Gym, but then I remembered it's injury races this weekend, so that car park is going to be absolutely chaos. I actually think it's closed, so we're going to head over to Volt. The plan was Volt, changed my mind to Pure Gym, but I'm going back to Volt. And plan for the session, I feel like just doing a bit of volume on things, so I saw a sort of rep scheme that I like the look of, but again, judge all by how I warm up. It's going to be sort of 2 minutes on, 30 seconds off for however many rounds and movements I decide to do. It's actually a bad idea when that jump is very thick, but we are all warmed up. Spent quite a bit of time before more on the glute area and into the lower back and erectors, and then jumped on the assault bike for 10 minutes, which absolutely ruined me. Probably because the jumper was very thick, so I was sweating. I haven't used one for quite a few years, so that just gassed me up, but nice and warm. Doing a few rounds of warming up, so ready to get into it. And I've decided to make it a little bit shorter, taking out 2 movements. So we are going for 2 minutes on, 30 seconds off of runner, sled push, which although I've loaded up with sandbags and kettlebells, it still feels very light. Back on the runner, and then into the wall balls, just to train the legs under fatigue. But sled feels very light, but I imagine it's gonna be tough. So it was gonna be run, sleds, run, wall ball, run. No, run, sleds, run, lunge, run, wall ball. But then put it to a timer for those minutes was a bit too long, but I might come back to that again and do it for shorter. But for now, we'll do these 4 and then on to some accessory work. So hopefully I survive this, and if I survive this. Looking back now, I don't actually think this 6 exercises would have taken that long, as I accidentally set the clock up for 2 minutes 30 seconds of work and 30 seconds rest, and not the intended 2 minutes of work and 30 seconds rest. I got to the 2 minute mark during the first round on the run and was wondering why I hadn't heard the timer count down to the rest. So I had to quickly look back and change that. The sled was a funny one, as I just said. I have no idea how much it weighs, and even though I had loaded with, don't know if you can quite see there, but there was 2 kettlebells in the middle, a 32 and a 28, and then a 30 kilo, 25 and 20 kilo sandbag stacked on top, and it all still felt relatively light even with the sled on tire resistance. It was also annoying that as I was pushing it along, it went in a sort of a slight curve and it never went in a straight line. Thankfully I never bashed into anything and there was no one in the way. And I think I managed 8 lengths in round 1, 7 in round 2 and 3, and then 6.5 in the last round. But again, no idea what the actual distance is. Even more surprising was the fact my legs felt better running after the sled push than they did after the wall balls. I found that much tougher to get into even after the short rest period. And for the wall balls, I thought I'd try a little strategy of 2 sets of 15, then dropping down to 2 sets of 10, allowing myself 5 big deep breaths before picking the wall ball and going again, which to be honest worked quite well as I kept a consistent number each round, hitting 51, 54, 53, 52. I think that was kind of the strategy I used during the High Rocks comp itself. So I'd like to work on that, on getting bigger sets. And I think I could probably have gotten a few rounds of 20, but that would have knackered my shoulders and legs even more because they were still feeling it from Wednesday's shoulder press. But since this was one of my first compromised running sessions, I kept things relatively easy, and it was, yeah, I'd say it was a great session. Just good to just zone out, do 2 minutes of work, not really focused on hitting any number of reps or having to hit a certain number of rounds within a time. Just no real constraints apart from just work with 2 minutes and actually pacing things for once. Who knew pacing would work in general? I don't know what I was going to say after that. But this was a very good session. I think this is probably something I'm going to keep over the next couple of weeks as I get used to compromise running. I'll do a set period of time to work and a little bit of rest, and then another period of work again, building up. I think this just took, what's that, I think 40 minutes? I don't know, what's 2 minutes times 4, what's that, 8? And then times that by, let's get it on my calculator. 2 times 8, again my maths is terrible, there's 16, so that's 60 minutes per round, times that by 4, 64, no it's not, it didn't take an hour, is it 16 minutes? Anyway, yeah, wasn't very long. Actually you'll see a shot of the clock in a second at how long it actually took, and it was just to prove that I actually did do the rounds that I said I did, 4 rounds of each. And this, although I didn't film the last round of movements, this was the last set of wall balls, just going for it. And even though it wasn't much overall, it was definitely enough for me on the day. And you can see I was very sweaty. This is one of the new Gym King t-shirts, which is probably my favourite t-shirt, although I could probably come with a size up because this was very tight once it got soaked in sweat. And even though it ruined me, it's probably my favourite sessions I've ever done. And here is just some proof of how much run I did. 2.6k, averaging I think the 6 minutes per go, I think per 2 minutes. And then here is the phone. Probably it's way too close to my face, but yeah, 15 rounds because I set the wrong time for the first round. I did 2.5 minutes instead of 2, so that's why it's 15 rounds. So I'm going to rest for a minute, take some water on board, I don't even know why I'm saying that, and then do some accessory work, see what needs work or what feels like it can do with some extra work. I've decided to call this session F You Up Friday. So the only downside to that new jumper is all these black bits that it's left off. I didn't even notice these before, but obviously when I sweated before and it's all come off. But for the accessory work, because I hate myself that much and my legs haven't had much of a beating today already, we're going for some cyclist squats, so heels raised on a plate, and some dumbbell rows with some straight arm sit-ups. Just because we did some measurements, so I did like a refresher thing in work, taking measurements, and my legs were 60 centimetres and my biceps were 40 centimetres, so arms are not far off, well they are quite far off, but leave me legs to go. So going to do some quads, doing them pulsing just to keep tension on the quads throughout, just to get more of a pump on. And I like doing these dumbbell rows because they get a nice little stretch on the lower back, which is actually loosened off quite a bit since doing that session. And then the sit-ups, I do a straight arm take sit-ups because they just feel the best on my core, and they also give my shoulders a bit of a stretch. So this is just a nice easy circuit just to get the blood flow and get a bit of a stretch involved as well. And then of course I'll probably hit with some arm work afterwards, and maybe some lat raises. Didn't do lat raises, but did jump on the reverse hyper and was doing these really slow and controlled eccentrics, and I forgot how good this was for a glute and lower back pump, and this just pretty much got rid of any lower back pain for the time being. It did come back later on in the day, but this was just a great way to just finish off and decompress the spine and get a nice little rump bump. That session is pretty much just what I needed, just to get in, not have a focus on any reps or targets, just to go in, work for however long, rest, and just continuously go. It's probably one of the best sessions I've had for a long while, which has definitely cleared my head and made me feel a lot better. But last night when these arrived, it just got me thinking about my own training mentality, and I made some notes on my phone just so I could talk about it now. So I'm going to read a bit from my phone, and I'm not typical, isn't it, as I start to record a tractor drives past, so I'll wait for that to go by. Hopefully it's not picking up too much noise. There it goes behind me. There we are. Because this is still half of this is still a building site, all the units are still being built. But speaking of like my training mentality or training philosophy has always been sort of wanting to become the best and strongest version of myself, trying to push my body to see what I'm capable of, and always trying to improve weaknesses whenever they show up. But obviously within that pursuit of wanting to become the fittest and strongest version of myself, I held myself to a high standard and put a lot of pressure on myself, which is why if I have like a bad training session or week of training, I tend to be too hard on myself, and which like this week I've been hard on myself because I tweaked my back, which then leads me to obviously not train as much and then not eat as much, which just those don't go hand in hand, and my head just gets very, very negative. But after that session, it's very, very clear. But something I'm definitely working on, and definitely trying to train a lot smarter over these last few years. Like if I need to take time off, I'll actually listen to the body and be like, yeah, I need to pull back a bit and ease off, which is why next week's a deload. I'm actually using those planned in now. May even move those to 4 weeks on rather than 5. So 4 weeks of work, 1 week deload. But then, yeah, even with injuries, I don't see them as setbacks. I see them as sort of sidestep to shift the focus to something else, bring up a weakness perhaps. For example, when I originally did my shoulder, all I could do was leg work, and it forced me to improve my running for cross, which I got better at. Hated it, but got better at it. Used to do intervals with the vest on one day, long runs without the vest, squats, box jump overs, everything to condition the legs. And then when I got back to CrossFit, I was much better at everything because the legs were conditioned, so that I brought up that weakness. But just all about, I think hustle made this sort of, the mentality is everything, sort of still showing up and putting in the work to get better, having the we don't quit mentality, which is the hustle made slogan. And something I recently heard on a podcast, can't remember which one it was, I'll probably put it on the screen if I remember it, and it was something along the lines of, live your day, or how would you live your day if your idol was watching, so imagine he's with you, just say for 24 hours, what would you do things differently? Would you, I don't know, eat better, train with more focus, train with more intent, that kind of thing? For example, I don't know who my training idol is really. Hunter McIntyre? He's a bit mental really. I suppose a lot of people will pick Goggins because he's just a nutcase. He's going to carry the boats and all that. But just like, would you do things differently? Would you hold yourself to a higher standard? Would you be better? That kind of thing. My mentality has always been to get better. So, and like then, I mentioned a few times this week that I'm sort of in a bit of a limbo of what to do with training. Like, whether to like not be this, try and be who I think I should be with training, just sort of do my own thing with training, and obviously with a focus on high rocks and getting stronger. We'll see. I feel like these last couple of vlogs have been a lot of word vomit, a lot of talk, just to clear my head a bit, which I'm definitely thinking's a sign I need to deload. When I started with thinking things, even just the basic things. But yeah, anyway, great session. Tomorrow's going to be a long run. I'm going to enjoy this brownie now. Where's it gone? This miso brownie. It smells very nice. Let's try it now, actually. If I can get this cling film off. Oh, here we go. Oh, yeah, it still looks nice and warm and gooey. It's like the hand behind the camera's at it. And then let's see. Thank you if you are seeing this. Thanks for the brownie. Almost said her name, but don't know if she wants to be mentioned. Oh wow. Didn't realize there were chocolate chips in there, along with one of Owen's hairs just come off the side. Hope I'm gonna enjoy this, head home, and just chill for the rest of the afternoon, finish editing some videos. Yeah, just play some FC24 and some Warzone. And then on Sunday, Kelly and I are going to that pizza place. We didn't go last week because of the time that Liverpool were playing Man U. I don't want to talk about the game yesterday, we got battered 3-0. But Sunday we're going to that Manchester pie place, which I can't wait for. And then Monday, deload, and just do it all over again. So I will see you in the next one. Peace.